はい。 Go watch some of the baseball games. See if I can get the range. See if I can get macrame into a totally new form from that which I found myself inclined to be fairly persistent in the accommodation of such demons as befitted the likeness which I presented to the world. Oh, I have spent too much time talking to myself. It is now remains to us to move about the common folk as though we are normal, when in fact we know we are not. To move about the common folk. To move about the common folk. The common folk you move about. Don't move about the common folk unless you know what you're doing. What I've got is an ass in a sling and a man named Durango who thinks I owe him my testicles. How do you think I'm doing? That's from a script I'm writing called Whacking Off Like a Monkey in a Mango Tree, Part 2. You don't know how I feel when I look at you, darling. You don't know how it feels when I think about water and what I know about a man's needs when he's never been with your daughter before. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta be with your daughter like I never been before. You think that I'm old and horny, but I'm exactly as I was born. You think I'm old and horny, but I'm exactly as I'm meant to be. Destiny has entwined me with your daughter's pubic hair. And if I could be permitted, I'd say I didn't care. But I do, because this prison is woeful to my mind. I don't think it's fair just because I did something to her hair when I was there behind. Get the woman behind me. I want nothing of your kind. I really didn't care very much for your however beautiful behind. Oh. Now we go as we once walked the earth in kind. Dolphin medicine. Oh, let's go. Let's do this thing. Oh, it's not bad. Oh, boy. Get out to the board.
happens a lot. A lot of women rape the father of their first child. It's extremely common. These are women that, even for a guy, their age or older, are really anxious to get pregnant. Maybe they're depressed, and they're just looking for a good time, and they don't really care. Getting pregnant would be the next best thing to ever happen, because they're still young and they have good looks, so they can find another guy. Health's the right man. They just, The fact that they can take care of a baby speaks well of them. Yeah. You know, the nest has already been started. You just sort of add the male part. He gets to be the hero that steps in for the invisible father who was really just raped at a young age and had no chance of really being terribly much a part of the person's life. But behind the scree of male scapegoating, he just seems like another irascible male that's counted against male kind, that a woman full of all the kinds of noble reasons that a woman always has can just rape a man and then say that it's the man's fault and leave the child without a father. There's some guy that wants to step up after all the hard work's been done of inseminating the poor little waif, the big-tittied little waste woman, whose father was, of course, an educator. And these are just the types of people that you find. Between education and weird sex boundaries, I think it's just some kind of like industrial hazard going on there. No one's on my favorite bench. If someone asks me, where's Landon's favorite bench? It's right here, of course. But he's going to go somewhere else today, so he can fucking see the sun for a little while before it disappears into the dreaded night. And also, he'll write poetry about that. People will love it. They'll be like, that sorry son of a bitch. But damn, he's a beautiful cunt, ain't he? I love that beautiful sad cunt. What happened to him? The shotgun in his mouth one night after a bottle of Jack and some triple sec did him in for the rest of his life, so to speak. Kind of a shotgun wedding, a consummation devoutly to be wished. The following images are graphic. So, this is where we're at. It's actually not a bad place to catch a little late day sunlight, I guess. I'm going to catch a little bit, smoke a little doob. Think about the good fortune of sitting on a bench and not having to slam hammers into the proper place. Bricks aligned in their proper alignment. I don't have to serve endless amounts of crap food in my fucked up little food cart thing. These people, this family, I'm acquainted with them. They made this food cart. It's like, it's the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so fucking ugly. Like, they made it out to look like a castle, but it's fucking ugly. It's so fucking ugly. And it was like, it is monstrous. They shouldn't be allowed to park it there. It's so fucking ugly. It's like a 2-story trailer, essentially. And, It's a nice place to sit. It's pretty good. Pretty good place to sit here. Let me get some sun. Yeah. It's weird to believe it's only like 5 or 6 o'clock and the sun's way up. Ah, the quiet of the seagulls and the crows. The easy communion of man in his redoubt. Man by such rests as should have composed the Bible, its many constituent bricks that slipped the yawning mouths of babes towards that Bethlehem slouched, waiting to be born. Take on the bones of the dead, and to fulfill the promises of old, and the oaths of Agamemnon. Oaths and oaks. Oaths and oaks. The Oaken. That'd be a good name for a show. The Oaken. Or The Sons of Odin. The Oaks of Odin. Oaks of Odin. Sometimes, like, young married couples look at me, or, and their children, I think they feel sorry for me. I'm all by myself, but they don't know that their pleasures and my pleasures share a quintessence. I'm just smart enough to focus on the quintessence. But that any human habits can concoct or find among its many constellations the rudiments of any happiness, I commend you to it. It's not an easy thing, and I admire wherever it appears that gardeners of sorts have prepared the soil, and some sun, to which or to whom you give all your faith, has shined upon me, and I bless you to it. It's weird, I see so many people with bikes that have motors now. Big tires. I like watching people. People like watching me. I look at them and I think, look at you. You're sick, ugly creatures with your vaginas and your penises. Moo. No, I see them flying kites and I think that looks fun. Flying kites with their children. These are moments of quintessence. At the beach with your children, moments of quintessence. Your bike, the bike ramp, the skateboard park, moments of quintessence. Your dogs, the air scented by the insouciant summer lamps of many languid and vivid pools of darkness, which have now been filled with the opium of hope, where they have been drained of even that blood which secures the future springs of the world in their almighty sleep, deep and cold, and craven images of bygone days, and the rage of much madness. Such madness as besits the languid ages of our infancy, with ledgers of is binded to a destiny that is widely seen to be more appropriate than that which you should have fleshed out from your heritage, unmolested by the world. Are you taking notes? My penis is approximately 4¼ inches long when thoroughly aroused. It is, in short, not at length. It's not a long story. To make a long story short, I should shrink your imagination of my manhood to such diminutive proportions that compared to which I should seem a much fairer man than he who should have made you feel small and inadequate by comparison. I have moderated my girth so as not to curse you to your own inferiority. Were I to reveal the true strength and length of my manhood, no one would bother to listen. It is higher than the Pyrenees. It is sturdier than your balsam or teak. That's so crazy. That's fun out here, though, isn't it? My mother is happy. Everywhere you look, children are running things with their ice cream cones. This is there's no one my age who doesn't have children. And if asked, I've always prepared an answer. I just think, what? I think, well, I've never had the opportunity. What opportunity have I had in the many highways and byways of Abbotsford and Salt Spring Island and Nanaimo and Parksville, which are all the towns listed to the number of 4 in which I have ever resided? In the many boroughs thereof, where I have lamented my existence, quite silently, and without ever bothering the likes of thee. And I'd like to be afforded a certain respect, a courtesy, if you will, that my labours, though a little less useful or practical than most of thine own, are nonetheless valuable in their own right. For none breathe, but they labour to do so. The soul should not be girded too tight. Unless, of course, it's a pussy. And then tighter the better. That it should escape its prison by accommodating one seriously engorged member of the House of Parliament. Which House of Parliament? Perhaps Libra, crossed with Capricorn. Capricorn 1, coming in now. I think at some point, if I really do see a vagina, I'm going to have to record it. Be like, okay, guys, I can't really show you her vagina. Just make a sound so people know you're there. Hi. This poor spirit has agreed to allow me to touch her vagina for the first time in my life. Here's my birth certificate. Here's my my driver's license. I'm 48 years old. I have never touched the vagina. Now, here's my mother to attest to that fact. That's right, man has never touched the vagina. Now, Denise, could you please tell me what you anticipate is going to happen here when I make contact with your vaginal opening? Well, I expect to shudder and perhaps vomit. That explains that smell. All right, well, let's get on with this. What are you doing? I'm putting on some latex gloves. You can't be too safe these days. I mean, what with the herpes and the venereal disease and everything? What with women just making it loose and fast with any old person at airports and bus stations and the like? Just exactly where did you get your experience of sex? Well, all I know is that never a woman breathes, but yet she's willing to rut at the drop of a hat. He might be the ugliest man who ever lived. It's like, yeah, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I'm not in need of a blowjob. The guy's got a nice truck. Shit. I do admire that. Not that the energy it would take to keep it and clean it, but like it's a loving thing. That is a beautiful truck. I can admire beauty, machinery. Oops, what just happened? I think it just blew up. It was an assassination. Perhaps it was an assassination. In which case, don't worry. Nothing's really wrong with that. It's okay to have an assassination. Just not where children can see. Assassinations for one. It's a time and a place for everything. If you feel inclined to show me your behind. Assassinations tonight. It's one enchanted evening. We and I together upon a bearskin rug, and wind it flow, and pupil closing pills, where wills were lost like panties to the fates, and we gave way to demons and their ways. What kind of fucking song is this? I don't know, just a lovely young woman. I mean, she's not, like, just clean, nice. She's probably got a nice white house with dark wood floors, and she plays music by Timberland Blake in the background while she chops cucumbers and carrots for a beautiful salad, and then does some sort of yoga while sitting toward a temple with Buddhas, Shakiras, and Shivas all dancing in different directions, while reading a book called Awakening the Flower of the Kundalini of the Dark Madness of Womankind. And you look at her and she just smiles sweetly and says, I spiritually fuck things up. I am seriously demonic, but I love you. And as I told my psychiatrist this story, which just appeared to me now, but I got into my time machine and went back and told him. And he said, Brandon, you have such an incredible imagination. Why don't you use it for the power of good? You know, write a magazine for men with hairy palms and call it Hairy Palms and All. And I'm like, you are the most seriously helpful psychiatrist I ever had. It's almost like I made you up in my own imagination. Yes. And then I went and did that and went back in time and told him about the success of my magazine, Hairy Palms and All. I'm thinking of maybe I should do a monthly editorial, something to bring people up on the state of the chronic masturbation union. It's not bad. It's a little lean on the ground. What with the overweight middle-aged women and, well, the young girls are just pretty. They're not sexy. I like seeing healthy young girls. That's just, I don't really like seeing it. It's just nice to see now and then. I mean, healthy, happy, that's a good thing. I don't think sex really enters into it. It's hard to imagine where it does, that life remains as fluid and healthy as it should. But I remain reasonably aware that there are people who do find mates. Adding sex with another human being to my life is like adding C4 explosive to a firework factory staffed with blind people. We're not blind. They come and check on us, and then I train them to be like, we're not blind. You holding up fingers, we see them. What does that say? It says exit over there. Okay. All right. What's this say? That doesn't say anything. You're bluffing. Good one. He's come back here after year and he can't prove they're blind. He's so stupid. They keep having accents. He's getting lawyers and the ACLU is getting on his back about discriminating against people with disabilities. It's like, you have to actually demonstrate that they are blind and that it interferes with their job. Fuck. There's the whole fire stuff for blind people, but you can't say that out loud. Defamation. It was nice. A little girl came and just sat down near me for a couple minutes there. And that's where being around animals has really practiced me. And just looking away, ignoring. As long as people see that you're in your own space, it's fine. And what's great, the really great thing, the win for me is that the child and the parent feel safe within bounds, just sort of coexisting. You can really be in your own space. There's probably people who are from cities or stuff, and they can, people get up a little closer to each other on a regular basis, but still, it's good. It shows trust. Yeah. She's walking by her dad. It's really nice. Her gait is very healthy. It's very pleasing to see. It's healthy, just by the way people walk. People's gait. So, some healthy children. Her gait is very healthy. Her father, he's a little lumpy, but pretty good for his age. And her gait was perfect. She was walking behind him. It was nice. Good mental resonance between the father and the daughter. That was good. That was healthy. That's nice to see. Now there's a woman walking behind her father, her husband. I don't mind. I mean, people walk behind people. I like to walk behind people. I don't mind walking behind my mom. I walk behind old people. I'll walk behind anybody. I'll follow anybody home as long as you feed me. I'm a back of the pack kind of person. I really am. I am a back of the pack dog. Still kind of alpha in my way. Because I see things. Like, if everyone kind of has to have a front of the pack part of their personality, sometimes I just see too much. And that's when I have to be a bit alpha. It's my alpha nature is the owl medicine, which is the seeing too much. But it can really be helpful, even though people don't always like it. Sometimes you just have to nip things in the bud. We all have those things. We all have that. Like, that's our L medicine. Like, there's something in life where we just are able to nip something in the bud. Not always. Not all the time. We're not fucking vigilantes. But there's just stuff that just, whatever, boils your blood or just if something is wrong. And that's when people get saved. It's when people who are being abducted or stalked, it's that something that makes you go, okay, I'm going to go that extra step today. You know, whatever that was. Take that turn. Check on that person, maybe watch that child who doesn't have a parent near them, and you catch somebody who knows doing something. I mean, just you're on top of it. That little extra mile that you go. That even the police would say, you really shouldn't involve yourself. You know, you don't know what the fuck is going on. But like humans helping humans, you just have to. You know, we've each got our heaven. If you're out there and you've got a little bit of heaven in this world, you're looking around you. You're looking around your car. You're walking around, and yes, you're taking care of yourself. You're making sure that you stay unharmed and the people in your car, but you're also looking at the world around you. You don't want to see anyone else come harm. You know that, people, sometimes you got to have someone sick a little bit. You know, but you don't want to get involved in things you shouldn't. Like, conflicts between men, conflicts between spouses, things like that. You don't necessarily want to pick sides. That's not a good idea. As soon as someone's saying to you, this is none of your fucking business, that's basically the first part of the news hour when they find out that you've gotten shot. Right? And you can't look at it like, anything other than you're dealing with energy, kinetic energy. You're in a volatile situation, people can lose control. That's what happens. I think that's that purple Hummer that I don't know what it is. There's something suspicious about that car. But he's here. One day he's going to come up to me and say, motherfucker, why do you keep looking at my purple Hummer? It's a nice car. Yeah, I mean, people have to get each other sick. And then it's like you can look around and think, well, as you may imagine, you don't have to get anybody sick. You think, oh, the world's pretty good. I don't have to get anyone's back today. That's pretty nice.